Hi everyone, I'm the Plant Propagator and welcome to my channel. Today, oh my gosh, it is such a nice day here in Southwest Florida. It is 68 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 20 degrees Celsius. So this is actually a cold spell here, and they're saying the temperatures are going to be miserable cold like this the rest of the week, but you know, hey, I'm okay with it. What I wanted to do today is share with you some of the progress and some of the things that I'm seeing with my Dendrobiums, and also just to kind of explain to you something, a little bit of a change in philosophy on how I'm going to be mounting some of my Dendrobiums and some of my orchids in my my trees. And these are the trees in the front. So behind me is a date palm, and this is a date palm that I planted, I think probably around maybe 8 years ago, and it's grown from seed. I grew it from seed, and it's doing really very well. Over there, you can't see it. We'll take a look at it in just a little bit. There was another date palm that was there, and that was removed for a street improvement project, and that was a magnificent plant, and so is this. But it's been replaced, and I'm excited it's been replaced, but I'll show you in a second. It's a small plant, and so there's a lot of growing left to do on this plant. The replacement plant is also a date palm. It's also a plant that was grown recently from seed from my neighbor across the street, the one with the chimes that you may be able to hear, the wind chimes. And the plant that was there was decorated. I had orchids all over it, and those orchids were all removed before the palm was removed and taken down. But now I've got a clean palette. There's nothing, well, the tree's kind of small, and I've got nothing on it right now. But as it grows, and these things in this area do tend to grow pretty quickly, but as this plant grows, I'll be mounting orchids on the tree. All right, so let's get to the tree behind me. So the tree behind me, there's a variety of different orchids that are on there. So there's it's mostly Dendrobiums, there are phals, there's cattleyas, Savanda on there. There's a bunch of different orchids, and the ones that tend to do best in this area that's just carefree are the Dendrobiums and Phalaenopsis. I went to my local orchid society, had a speaker this week, and it was about using orchids in the landscape. And usually I go to these talks and I don't learn a whole lot, or I learn very, very little from it. And this talk was really nice because these are commercial growers that actually they have a service where they plant and manage the orchids that are in the landscapes, that are part of the landscape. And what they showed is a variety of different types of plantings, some which were like mine, which is just put them up in the tree if they're extra, and there's some that were professional installations. And the professional installations, they were great, they were awesome. And what happens with those is they organize the colors within the installations and the type of orchids. So you get really intense all around color with some of these orchids, rather than throwing in, you know, some reds and some yellows and some whites and maybe some blues here and there. There's highlights of certain colors, and that's what I want to go for on this new date palm and with the orchids that I plant there. And what that means is you tend to either you mount divisions or clones or something that will give the similar colors. Now, I'm at the point where I've gotten a similar effect on the Dendrobiums behind me, because they are mostly red dens. And a lot of time what these dens are, they are plants that are growing very vigorously here that I divide and shove on the tree. So what I have on the date palm behind me is mostly red Dendrobiums, and they're doing extremely well here. They grow, they're putting out just, they just grab onto the tree, put out a ton of bloom spikes. So I almost cut some canes off of this plant back there, but then you look at the canes and there's new bloom spikes coming out. They're leafless canes, but this is not unusual for dendrobiums. There are bloom spikes coming out of these canes that just don't have any leaves on it, don't look really nice, but they will when the blooms open. So again, I'm getting a flush of color on with these dens right here. So I got this is mostly one dendrobium right here, and it's just gotten big. It grew out, got just a ton of spikes on it. It's got a massive root system that attaches it to the base of the tree, and this thing is doing very well. As you can see, maybe from where I'm located, these dens now are getting a lot of sun. In the summertime, when the sun is up in the sky, the leaves, the shade from the day palm shade it. But in the wintertime here, what happens is the sun goes lower in the sky over there, and this is a southern exposure here. And what happens is these get a lot of sun. But it's a gradual, as the sun goes in the sky, lowers in the sky, it's not as intense as in the summertime. Then it's a gradual exposure, but these are getting some good sun right here, and they seem to be doing well. And I've had cattleyas bloom on this side that have put on a show. I've had just a number of different phalaenopsis will put on a show, but it's really bright being in the sun on the south side of this tree. So you got to be a little careful. So I might plant phals on the north side of this tree so it's a little shadier. I might plant more, cattleyas on this tree on the other side of the tree, and just to see how it goes. Now what will happen over time is as that tree gets big, it'll shade this tree right here. But plants can't move, so they're stuck here, but they seem to be doing so well. On this side of the tree, we've got, again, these are no ID. A lot of these are no ID dendrobiums. I have some in here that I do know what they are, and they're not doing as well as these guys. So these are some dens that are really nice, dark, rich red color, and they're doing very well. They're putting out a lot of bloom spikes. They're tolerating, over here gets more sun than over here, but they're tolerating the sun on this side of the tree really well. I've got another plant up here that is about to bloom. I've got actually 2 or 3 plants down here that are blooming, and some of the dens here came off of the tree that used to be there. So everything over here is just doing so well. During Hurricane Milton, there was a lot of damage on these dens. I think it was wind damage. The leaves yellowed and fell off. Same thing with the dens that are behind my house that we'll take a look at in a little bit. But they've recovered, obviously, and they're doing really, really well. All of these are mounted on the tree. The roots are just have grabbed onto the tree. They like the sun. They bloom. A lot of these guys bloom constantly. And so I have in the past gotten a lot of no ID dendrobiums, but now I think I'm actually getting dendrobiums where I know what they are, and I am starting to do some hybridization, some crossing on dendrobiums, and I'm starting to get into them a little bit more. I wish there was a little more fragrance associated with it. On some of them there are, and I like to use those. But I'm trying to get more dendrobiums where I know what they are. One of the things is I was excited a year ago to get 2 dendrobiums at my local society meeting. I think I won them either in bingo or the raffle or something like that. And I got them home and looked them up, and they had tags on them, and they said what they were, but I looked them up and they weren't registered hybrids. So I have those. I really try to avoid those if at all I can, and I have those, but I'm not going to do much of anything with those. I may, again, put them on the tree. They have tags, but the tags are what the growers use to kind of mark one plant from the other, but they're not registered hybrids. So again, really nice Dendrobiums, but limited value for me because of what I like to do with them. All right, so what I want to do is get behind the camera. So we've already looked at these. You've seen some close-ups of some of these orchids here, and what I want to do is get behind the camera and go take a look at some of the orchids, and more importantly, how they're recovering after the hurricane, when they were essentially destroyed from a bougainvillea that fell on them, and also from wind damage. But let's take a look at those and see how those are doing, because some of them are doing really well. All right, so let's go and get behind the camera and we'll see what else I have. Okay, and we're back. So this, I shouldn't be showing you this, but because this is so past its prime, but this is Dendrobium Judy roots, and I've used this for some crosses, and these blooms have been on this plant for a while, probably for about a month, but you can tell they're pretty beat. So anyway, but it's doing well. Let's take a look at, and there's some other den blooms that are right here. So this is one of those Dendrobiums. This flower's been open for a while. These two flowers have been open for a while. But this is from a plant that is, I think it's right back there. And this is labeled, and if you check this name on Orchid Roots or in the Royal Horticultural Society to see if it's been registered, it has not. So I've got a couple of plants, again, back there that have bloomed, that seem to be doing well, but there's no name associated with it. Anyway, so these are the dens that are on the top shelf here, and these were beat up pretty bad by the last hurricane that came through, and they're coming back. But let's take a look at some like right in here. If you can see this, this den right here. There's a little keiki coming out of the base of this Dendrobium. So I'm sorry, there's a little shoot cane coming out. This is a cake. It's from a keiki. And then the same thing with these guys. These are growing out nicely also. There's some new canes coming out of this plant right here, and I think this is one of my seedlings where I think Wu-Lang is the parent. But as you take a look, there's some new canes. You can see it, I think, right there in the middle of the screen. Cane coming out of this plant that is in this big pot, and there's no media in here. These are just roots and canes that were thrown into this pot that essentially fell off the top of my shelf, but they seem to be doing well. Here's another flower spike growing out of this is Dendrobium Wu-Lang, and so this is another spike that's coming out of this plant and that's recovering. But these are new canes that are growing out of it, and they're doing well. But look at the massive root system that is on this plant, and this is a pretty big plant that is wired down to my shelves here in this not so big pot. What happens on this thing is the canes grow out. The flower that you can see right there is coming out of this cane, which is a new one. But new cane, old cane, doesn't matter. They just produce a lot of flowers. But again, huge pot. I'm not even sure what's even in there. It may be lava stone. I don't know. But these things just do well with very little care. Moving down, there are a few things I want to show you. This one right here, hard to see, hard to get focus, I think, but there's right there in the middle of the screen is a new inflorescence of a bunch of flowers that are coming out of one of my seedling Dendrobiums, and I think this is a self of Wu-Lang, and my tag on it says purple tinge or purple fringe or something. I'm not sure, but this is a nice Dendrobium that after it flowered, I kept it. But this is again in the pots that are just shoved down in here. This is a new cane coming out of this plant, which is one of my hybrids that I named Woohoo, and growing really well. This one flowered really quickly from seed, but it's growing and it's just doing really well. There's some more dens down here. You know, you can see some nice den leaves. A lot of these are my seedlings. Here, I don't even know. This Dendrobium, nope, that's, I don't know. Let me see. Yeah, that's one of my seedlings. That's another Woohoo right there. So doing well again. It's been about 2 years since this was a seed. So this Dendrobium is growing very, very well. I do have a new flower spike coming out on this Dendrobium here, right in the middle of the screen. So this is a den that I bought from somebody else, and I'm excited. This will be my first flower on this named hybrid. As I go back here, I'm just seeing this. So here's another den. I think this may, I'm not sure what this is, but again, you've got a new cane growing out of this Dendrobium. And the ones that are in the 2-inch pots, those are ones that I grew from seed in the laboratory. But things are doing really well. As I move over here, I don't want to get sidetracked. There's a Pseudopodium punctatum right there. That is a, I'm going to have to turn around and see what it is. That is an Oncidium insatum that I grew from seed. Again, that looks really, really good. Anyway, let's go on. There's one other thing I wanted to show you, and that's on the bottom here. And this is, if I can find it, there is right there. So that is a capsule that's on a cross that I made. So the parent on this is an orchid that I got from RF Orchid, a Dendrobium. Really nice flower, made the cross. Huge seed capsule for a Dendrobium that formed after I think it's only been maybe 3 months now. Sometimes the dens mature in less time than it takes my other orchids, but I'm keeping an eye on it, and hopefully I'll catch it before it matures and splits. But yay, Dendrobiums there. And again, more on the bottom shelf here, a combination of orchids that I've grown from seed and purchased from others. All right, I think that's it. I've got other Dendrobiums around, but no need to look at them. This is what I wanted to focus on today, is the recovery of some of the Dendrobiums, just to kind of give you an update on how they're doing and how easy they are to grow, at least here in this environment. All right, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you did and you want to keep on seeing them, it would help me out if you can click on like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already a subscriber. All right, that's all I have for you again today. I hope you enjoyed it, and happy propagating.